out, and it's just like, oh yeah, Ultimate Invasion. We have the ultimate Peter Parker, and he's allowed to be the Spider-Man that everybody loves, right? He's allowed to do that. You can make him be everything, like the character things that they want from 616 is the shit that Ultimate is allowed to have, and if that works, they might release Peter of like dumb shit, you know what I mean? They're gonna have to get somebody other than Bendis to handle it, which is gonna be kind of janky, but it's just like, because Bendis, that is Bendis' Spider-Man, you know?
Yeah, but we
I
can't
don't,
call.
yeah. What's up?
We could try to call the bald man to just do the Spider-Man thing.
Yeah, there's gonna be somebody else that has to like take the reins, and it's gonna have to be somebody who is like very gifted. I don't want Chip Zdarsky
Why?
to do it, because like Chip Zdarsky would just like come out and he'd be like, Peter's kind of like snobby and he's Chip Zdarsky's Spider-Man would be Twitter's Spider-Man, right? That's my problem with him. We're just like, Tony, you're a bad guy because you sell guns. In the 1990s, he actually wasn't selling guns, right? You know what he was doing in the 90s? What? Minding his business and selling fucking rockets. Right?
Yeah, but like selling rockets, usually I don't think it's that.
He was trying to like advance medical technology as well as software. What he was doing had nothing to do with weapons. Of course, you can't ask Spider-Man fans to pay attention about that, because it's just like
Because it's not a Spider-Man book.
Yeah, a book other than Spider-Man. Iron Man's doing something like that has nothing to do with them. Whoa.
Alright. Made a tweet and I put it in Gen Chat saying that, hey, we are live, don't join. If you want to see it, just hop in the stream. So, because we don't have audience member or the audience thing set up, so right now it's just if they want to hop in, they can join the actual Twitch stream.
Yeah. Also,
this is kind of tight.
So we'll give it about 10 minutes.
I like this.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, for real. This is pretty nice.
Can I share it?
Yeah, you could share it around. Yeah, you could share it around.
Yep.
Oh well, since I activated my Twitch. See what's going on here. Oh, they got Valorant.
Oh, wow. Alright, so looks like we are live here. Awesome. So...
Awesome possum.
And we got a couple people here. So, just for the couple people that have joined in, we will be talking about different comics. There might be some spoilers. Just keep that in mind. But we're going to try and keep them to a minimum. I know me and Alex are going to be talking about War Across Time, and I'll be talking about Al Ewing's Wasp. So Xavier, do you know what you're going to be talking about?
Yeah. Regarding new comics, I'm probably going to be talking about Sins of Sinister and the new Amazing Spider-Man issue.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I guess we can go ahead and get started here. Who wants to start here? I don't know if,
Do you want to start, Vlad?
Yeah, I can definitely start. I guess I'll start on the Wasp, and when you talk about War Across Time, we'll talk about that together, just because we both read it.
Yeah.
So I have been reading Al Ewing's Wasp, the first 2 issues, and so far it's been a pretty good issue. It's pretty good seeing the Wasp actually get its first comic release, and it's pretty interesting with how they've handled it. Janet has quite a big role in the story. Let's see. Oh God. So yeah, it's with Al Ewing's Wasp, we kind of get quite a good look into the character, with Janet especially, and her relationship with Nadia. It's also interesting because it seems to be tying back into Janet's backstory, which hasn't really been brought up in the comics too much. The first issue was actually pretty good. We got a pretty good fight scene with Whirlwind, which was actually really fun. That's one of my favorite things with the Wasp comics lately, has been Jan just kicking the crap out of Whirlwind. It happened in Ensemble Wasp, she did it there, and it looks like here in this one she did it again. But I guess the main story, kind of going over that, is so it looks like it's tying back into Jan's backstory. With there's this creature or this thing called Of Cosmos, which is like some weird eldritch horror thing. It's a giant blob monster that kills you if you look at it, and it wants revenge on Janet for killing it. So it's kind of shown back up, and that's kind of what the story's looking like right now. The kind of one of my favorite parts with the story is Janet and Nadia's relationship, and it has been, a lot better than, especially Nadia. Nadia is like actually bearable in the story. If you've read any of the other Nadia books, Nadia is like a complete and utter pain in the ass to deal with, especially in like Wade's 2016 Avengers. And here, Nadia is actually quite a fun character to read. She doesn't overshadow Janet, which is really good. In the second issue, it kind of looked like that when you're dealing with Phantasma, and Phantasma shows up like an army of like robot versions of the Wasp and knocks Janet out, and Nadia's like, well, you know what, that was a mistake, you're gonna regret it. And 2 pages later, Janet gets up, and it's like, okay, that's good, she's back in it. It's been interesting, to say the least, with the story. I'm going to have to spoil this just because it's interesting what they did. But apparently it looks like Janet and Nadia, like, they died in the second issue. It's kind of like, what? They're of course coming back in the next one, but it's interesting how they're going to handle that. So yeah, that's kind of going over a little bit there. I mean, the main thing, though, that's really good with it is just how Jen is portrayed. That's honestly the best part of the story. She's like a lot like her, 616 Janet has changed a lot compared to the 60s version of the character. Back in the 60s, Janet was kind of like, your stereotypical, damsel in distress kind of character that you see with very little personality or character development, and really was just kind of like there just to be Hank's love interest. And to see the character grow to this point where, in her own solo story, it's fun seeing her actually try to deal with issues without someone else, being there. And without her, like, being captured or kidnapped or whatever, like, back in the 60s. And it just goes to show that the character can work in a solo run. And they even, like, tied back into other stuff that Nadia's been into. They tied back into all different Avengers, which was really cool seeing that. And like an issue, like it's like the issue that introduced Nadia, and they go back to that issue, and it's like that's really cool that they did that. And seeing Janet's backstory, they didn't change the backstory at all. It is the exact same backstory, and I really appreciate that. So it's one of those things that I think the issue is good. Like, it's a really good issue so far. My main concern, though, is just trying to see, what they do after the entire shenanigans with Cosmo basically turning them to dust. Either her father might come back, Hank might come back, it's up in the air what's going to happen, but I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. And my other complaint, too, is that I was kind of hoping to see some of, like, a little bit more, action before we get to Cosmos, but Janet only, like, fought, like, the main 2 side, I guess, villains has been Whirlwind and Phantasma, and even then they were kind of like pushovers. So I was just kind of like, it'd been kind of interesting to see them maybe fight like a third villain, but at the same time, because the character's never had a solo run, she's never really fought anyone on her own before. So it's like the only like real character that Jan's ever fought is Whirlwind. Like, that's just kind of been her main antagonist in the stories, but, it is what it is, Can't really do much about it. That's really all I have to say about Al Ewing's Wasp. I guess I'll go ahead and let MCU-Man kind of talk about World Cross Time, and I might pitch in there too. So, yep, on to you then.
I do like the fact that you did bring up the Hank possibility, right? That was great. Because I do hope that happens too. But as I start Avengers War Across Time, I just need everybody to know I'm a huge Avengers fan. If you know me from Twitter, that's pretty much most of the thing I talk about. I will say this. Getting into Avengers War Across Time is probably one of my favorite books out on the shelves right now, right next to World's Finest. But Avengers War Across Time has a very solid story, especially in the placement of it of the book. It's kind of perfect, being that it takes place in between Avengers issue 11 and 12, where it's pretty much a story about the Avengers going after Kang in a very interesting way. But they're trying these like different ways onto going after him, and it kind of backfires on them. I think in a way this book allows itself to be cemented in the Marvel universe, but still tells a pretty solid self-contained story, which is something that I keep saying makes this book so much fun to read. We have cameos from like Spider-Man supporting cast, as well as the Avengers supporting cast, like Rick Jones, Peter Parker, Aunt May, Betty Brant. It's a solid book, and we see like the art is very bombastic. Alan Davis really just pushes it on this book, and the 60s designs are great. I especially love the fact that the team is like this colorful and this bombastic, and they're this action oriented. I will say this: you're gonna love the first issue going into the second issue, especially where you get Sindri, the one who designed Thor's hammer, and the Avengers got to like handle him. We're also dealing with like classic 60s Marvel, so this is like the very early days that they're just sliding time scaling it up. So very solid book.
Yeah. I really like the 60s characters making their comeback.
Yeah.
It is really fun seeing like some of these characters, and me being a big Janet fan, I really like how they handled 60s Janet, because there's like a lot of, I mean, they changed the character, but not in a bad way. It's like they just kind of removed the stuff that made the character dated, but also making her like extremely fucking horny, and it leads to a lot of humor. So like she has so many funny lines in it, and
they do a lot with her character.
Yeah, they do. It's quite fun seeing that character kind of show up in that too. It's just fun seeing the classic 60s Avengers. Like, seriously, they are really fun seeing them.
I know this is like the second 5. Technically, Cap is giving founding member status because the Hulk left in issue 2. So this is better. I love seeing this, especially in the way of like you said, characterization, where it's just like Hank is like this dutiful scientist who's just like really about his work, and he's a workaholic. And then we see Iron Man, where they keep up the facade that, hey, I'm his bodyguard. It's just so silly, but it's so good. Love it.
Yeah, I really like the bodyguard part. That was actually pretty funny in the issue where they're trying to get into the Fantastic Four headquarters in I think issue 2, and Jan's like, so you can't get the door open? Iron Man's like, yeah, no, Tony is the one that has the brains. I'm just his bodyguard. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, it's like, they talk about like the time machine, and like Willie Lumpkin's just like, you guys are weird. They're not coming back for a while. Stop. Where it's just Marvel making commentary where it's just like, hey, even back then the Fantastic, we even the Avengers knew who the Fantastic Four were, right? They were top dogs, right? And we get to see like these really cool action sequences. I just love the fact that they just busted their way into the Baxter building, right? And they like trashed their security system. It's kind of cool.
It was really cool seeing that. Just the whole thing with the Baxter building was fun. I really like the Hulk that Kang unleashed on them in the first issue. That was
Oh yeah,
fun because, especially because like they actually tied into the '60s comics, where it takes place like what after issue 11 in the '60s run,
yeah,
because they make reference to Rick Jones in the first time the Avengers encounter Kang. Um, Rick Jones is like pressing a bunch of buttons on Kang's spaceship in the issue, trying to do something. And in War
oh
Across
that was
Time,
yeah, that
Hulk
was
is
issue 8. Yeah,
issue 8.
might
Yeah,
be.
yeah, no, it's fine. Hulk is like this fake Hulk. Says to Rick Jones, "There's no buttons for you to push anymore, puny man," or something like that. So that was like a really fun
Yeah,
reference to that issue. Kind of tying it all in.
love that. Yeah, because this takes place after the fact that Spider-Man saved their bacon in issue 11. That's why they keep bringing him up. They're like, "Oh yeah, Spider-Man, we like that guy," which I feel like is Paul Levitt's way of just saying like he's in love with like the '60s Marvel style, and there's a reason why those books resonated with people. Which is just like, yeah, I can see why. Because even me, when I first got into starting to read Avengers, it was I read the classic '60s and the Marvel Adventures one. I loved the '60s Adventures. I just love the way that they spoke. I love how like action packed the book was. I love how like the character interplay was very cool. It was all of it was great, especially when like they had to leave by issue 16. That was great. But this is really like one of the last no, the last foray as the first 5 went was another situation. I think it was a Count Nefaria thing because Zemo kind of got on their case on their bad side because they kidnapped Rick Jones. It was great, really really good run, and Paul Levitz takes what makes that run so special and he just runs with it in War Across Time.
Oh yeah, it's he definitely runs with it. It's fun. It's it's just the '60s fun. If you don't, I mean, if you don't like the '60s, you still might find something fun in it. But
Yeah,
there's like a lot of good moments, a lot of good character moments, and again, it's just fun seeing the founding 5 back together. It's not something that we see often. Those original 5 members.
yeah,
And
no, it's we don't see that very often. I mean, we got it in 2011 and
yeah,
2010 because they wanted to let us know, hey, the Avengers are like our big kids now. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're the cool kids on the block. You know what I mean? We
yeah,
want you guys to know that we're pushing them. We're selling Avengers books because we want to sell the Avengers. We're making a movie. This time around, it's just like I'm just appreciative of the fact that Kang coincidentally makes an appearance. Like the book is coincidentally about him. Levitz actually went on to say he did not know that they were doing something with Kang, and it just worked out because he wrote this book in quarantine. So it's just like it's great. It's really good stuff. It's no wonder why they're allowing it. We're just like, yeah, it's great.
yeah, exactly. It's just such a fun book, man. There's a lot of good moments in it, especially all the random character appearances. If anything, it's
Yo,
fun
those
just to see
cameos.
like those character cameos. Aunt May. Oh god, what's the mailman's name again?
Willie Lumpkin,
Yeah, Willie Lumpkin. Rick Jones. Like, oh, it's so fun seeing those characters just show up.
great.
So
It's good shit, right? I know
it's
it's
really
so
good.
good. It's good. It's so good. Um, with that being said, I think we pretty much covered the book. Xavier, do you have anything to say?
So, my coverage on this, it's gonna be pretty limited because I've only read like the first issue, and also I'm not as big of an Avengers guy as MCU-Man and Vlad are. But to be honest, I enjoyed it. It was a really, really fun issue. And I can't really say anything more about it because you've covered everything, basically.
Right. So, what issues have you read though? Anything that have you read recently?
Thanks for the question. So, there's like one thing that I want to talk about before I go to the big topic that I want to discuss, which is the latest issue of The Amazing Spider-Man. I'm keeping up with it because I don't really hate Zeb Wells' run, and I'm interested to see where this weird, insane comic book will go next. So, this issue is the end of a story arc written by Joe Kelly and penciled by Terry Dodson. And I'd say it's not incredible, but it's pretty fun. It's really refreshing in this time of Amazing Spider-Man where a ton of stories are insanely convoluted. This is just really simple. Peter and Felicia go to a resort to just relax after Dark Web, and there they see what is the name of that bunny character? That she basically stole some supervillain technology and used it to power up some nobodies, basically. And then Peter and Felicia have to fight those nobodies. And it's pretty fun time. Honestly, I feel like the internet has really exaggerated that Peter Parker loves Mary Jane like a sister moment, because A, that moment is contradicted in the very same panel. I'm not even joking. And
even when I read it, it was the same bubble. Yeah, when it was the same bubble that they contradicted it to. It was and even Felicia calls him out on it. I haven't even read the book, but I've seen the panel floating around, and I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and even then, it's not like, oh, Peter loves Mary Jane like a sister. No. It's Peter trying to fake that he doesn't love Mary Jane romantically anymore, just to not offend Felicia. And to be honest, I feel like that character interaction wasn't bad. And I have nothing else to say on this book. It was a pretty okay issue. I want to see where they'll lead next with the big ass mystery thing that I really kind of don't care about. I just wish Zeb Wells Spider-Man was better, man. I am extremely disappointed by that comic.
Yeah, it kind of feels like he could do better. You know what I mean? But it's just I feel like this is his one chance to write Spider-Man, and this is where he has to take it. So it's okay that this is where it's okay, but it's just I feel like the places that we frequent have kind of overreacted to some of the things that were said in a book that he didn't even write. Right?
Yeah.
That was
also. Want to say this. I view Zeb Wells' run in a very similar way to Nick Spencer's run. Just that, Wells was hated from the start, while Spencer was, more liked at the start, and then the run was, hated by everyone. Correct me on this, MCU-Man, but, I feel like Zeb Wells Spider-Man, Nick Spencer Spider-Man both have in common this big mystery concept of setting up a huge mystery box that will be answered, and it's it will shatter Peter's life forever. For Spencer's run was the Kindred mystery. For Wells' run was the "What did Peter do?" which I thought was gonna be answered in Ryan North's Fantastic Four, but it didn't. Whatever. And also both runs are relatively back to basics at the start. With the first arc of Nick Spencer's run literally being back to basics. And the first arc of Wells' run being basically a classic Spider-Man crime story. And I feel like it's pretty interesting to see how similar they both are in their respective places in Spider-Man canon.
I think that you do kind of point out a very interesting thing that they both do. Like the concept is very much like mystery box. Like, oh, what? Who is this character? What happened? And it's very telling, right? I do got to say the most insulting thing about the recent Amazing Spider-Man issue was the fact that they just flat out said that Paul and MJ was married. That was a slap in the face by Marvel, where it's just like, oh yeah, well, if you want to move on, move on. And it's just like, okay, but like the problem with ripping the Band-Aid off is now it's just like it's increasingly, the wound is increasingly getting worse because you keep pouring salt in it. Right.
Yeah, and
Where,
also,
yeah.
I feel like the entirety of Paul's existence is that, like, hey guys, you should move on. Like, don't you see MJ's moved on to this guy? They're even married now.
Yeah.
And it feels a lot worse because, like, only a few years ago they were a couple. I don't say they were married; they were a couple in Next Spencer's Run and beyond.
Yeah, all of 2021 and 2022, they were like a thing, right? So it's a little weird for them just to be like, oh yeah, by the way, we don't like what you guys like. Goodbye, we're writing stories for us, stories that we would have liked as Spider-Man. I found it even funnier because like Jerry Conway kind of did also weigh in on this. I do think it is kind of funny that he did, in a way, say some very interesting things in the way that of Spider-Man has to be the way he is right now.
Real quick, so what you're saying is that they literally got MJ to marry someone else instead of retconning One More Day? That's what Borgie's saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I don't know, they might pull a fucking him.
Are you talking about Fantastic Xavier said Borgie?
Yeah, that's what Borgie was asking about here in the chat.
Oh.
They might pull a Hank Pym and then just completely kill her because they ran out of ideas. I don't know.
Yeah, to be honest, I'd prefer that to like, oh my god, we're still doing the Peter and MJ are broken up thing. Like, please, at this point, you know.
Wait, where's the chat, Vlad? I can't see the chat.
So,
where's the chat, fellas? I can't see it. Might be. Oh, whatever. Works for me.
Yeah. Who cares? So, what is, like, the thing that I want to mention? Oh, yeah. Like, I don't even want One More Day to be retconned. Like, okay, it happened, like, 15 years ago. Sometimes in life it's okay to move on. But, also, I feel like you don't even need One More Day to be retconned to have Peter grow as a character. Like, even just him leaving with MJ as, like, a boyfriend and girlfriend would be better than this, you know?
Yeah, but I feel like that, I disagree with that just from the standpoint that Peter could stand to grow. Just from the idea that, like, the constraint that One More Day leaves is editorial mandate, where it's a little, you have to do a little meta reading where it's just like, no, Peter can't be married because we said so. Peter can't have a life. Peter can't grow beyond what we need him to grow in the story because we said so. It's like, it's almost vindictive, right? Considering that this guy is supposed to be the everyday man, and at some point in life, the everyday man goes on, has a wife, has some kids, you know, has to pay like a mortgage, right? It's when you stop to think about these sorts of things. I do agree with you. Even if they undo One More Day, there's nothing saying that he has to be married.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, like
oh, sorry.
Like, especially in our current day society, marriage does not, like, always mean, like, adulthood.
Yeah.
Like, you can be an adult without getting married. Or you can be in a loving and great relationship without getting married. You know?
Yeah, that tends to be some relationships here in 2023. But
Yeah.
it's an interesting way to look at the whole one more day piece of advice and things like that, because it's just like Spencer tried to undo it. I feel it feels like somebody cut him off at the pass, and then Marvel had said no, we're going to keep it, and then moving on to Zeb Wells Spider-Man, because now we have to wait up until April and May to see what is actually going on.
Yeah, and what I find
Wait,
weird
really?
is
Wait, we won't get new issues until April and May?
No, we're going to keep getting issues, but April and May is when we're supposed to find out what happened.
yeah.
Wasn't like
Right.
March when we were supposed to find out? So
We
it's
were
like
supposed
the
to
issue
find
came
out
up-
in March, but I think we are going to find out in March, but they're saying like in April and May we're supposed to get like answers to like at what cost does the truth come at, right? For like issues 24 and 25. As you know, like the Lord have mercy, like the Gwen Stacy-esque cover that's been passed around where like Mary Jane's in like the background and Peter's swinging around. Like it doesn't bode well, but it's just like yeah, see, it seems like they're gonna try and get the same highs as like the night Gwen Stacy died.
Yeah.
But
To be honest,
hope.
my theory on that is that we'll see like that Peter and MJ weren't destined to be together, and in fact, like them being together only brings Peter suffering, and that's gonna be the big twist. To be honest, that's my theory about it.
Yeah, because I can see Marvel being that vindictive about it.
Yeah.
I think my biggest guess about what might happen is that they're going to come to some sort of agreement where it's like, hey, our love is stronger because it has endured so much, but I can like they're going to try and go back to like the 80s. It's going to be like that will they won't they sort of thing where it's like she's not the only girl that Peter is talking to, right? But it's going to be one of those situations where it's just like, okay, well, clearly we can't be in other relationships, but we want a single Spider-Man, but the fans want Mary Jane, so we're going to have to keep it. We're going to have to keep it pretty, pretty clear to people where it's just like they may not, they might, right? They're going to keep us in the same loop for another 10 years up until like another editor in chief wants to come in and just be like, yeah, no, this is over. We have to wait till like CB Cebulski's got to be done.
Yeah, to be honest, I feel like this will end with like we'll see an. I just imagine like just imagine how this will end in like 5 to 10 years. We'll see like someone who grew up with reading Marvel comics from like the really early 2000s, just wanting to have everything like the really early 2000s. So Scott and Emma together, Peter and MJ together, new the Avengers being kind of street level. That.
Yeah, and I can see where you're coming from.
What I just kind of find interesting is it's like I don't think they're going to give Peter the fucking Janet treatment, but at the same time it's like I wouldn't put it past him. It's just like the fact that I guess like Janet's kind of in the same situation though that Peter has, where it's like honestly I think the last time that she's actually had a serious relationship in the comics was like Tony in one of the Iron Man comics, and that only lasted a few issues. So it's like, and that was like after they killed Hank. So it's kind of like, she now doesn't really have a romantic interest anymore. It's the Janet treatment. So when I say the Janet treatment, it's how they constantly show Janet in a situation where she's either with someone like Hank and is in that, will they, won't they argument between each other, like, oh yeah, no, I hate you, or, I don't like you, hey, you're the problem, this is the problem, that kind of shit, where it's like, they just can't make the characters happy in a relationship. Where it's like, they keep coming up with, like, stuff that happened in the past that honestly should have been, like, retconned or ignored. That's just kind of what I'm worried they're gonna do, is they're just gonna run out of ideas and then start going back to some really stupid fucking shit. But, yeah. Anyways, though, sorry, I just went on a little tangent there.
Yeah, it's okay, it's okay. To be honest, Amazing Spider-Man is, like, the most frustrating Marvel book. Because, like, it's stuck in an endless loop. So, I usually feel more interested to talk about other stuff. Like that new X-Men crossover, Sins of Sinister. And, I can honestly say Sins of Sinister has been a highlight for me regarding weekly comic books. Because it's genuinely pretty great, So, first things first, the first issue of Sins of Sinister, like the start of the event, is just a recap of everything that happened in like the 10 years of Sinister becoming, like, Krakoa, governed by Sinister, becoming the most powerful nation on Earth. And honestly, it's a nice recap issue, kinda. Like, it's really interesting to see how Sinister slowly takes over the world. And it sets up really well the status quo. And all of the other issues are really based on character interactions. Like, Storm and the Brotherhood of Mutants is based around the interactions between Storm, the Brotherhood of Mutants, and Mystique. Nightcrawlers is based on the interactions of said Nightcrawlers, and Immortal X-Men is based on the interaction of the Quiet Council Sinisters, which, by the way, are hilarious. Kieran Gillen really does know how to write humor. And, the art has been done mostly, except for like the first issue, by Paco Medina, and that looks gorgeous, like absolutely gorgeous. I am in love with that artwork. And I can honestly say it's been quite a great read so far. Any questions, guys?
I like the idea because I picked it up. I was like flipping through it. I haven't really committed to reading it yet. But I do like the idea that like Scott just tells everybody like, "Hey, everybody's an honorary X-Man now." I thought that was really nice in the issue.
Yeah.
Whereas like the Avengers and like and the Fantastic Four go to help them take down Orcus. Which is like, yup. I dig it. Everything that Kieran Gillen has done at Marvel is very good. I'm not sure about his Iron Man because I'm still not keen on the whole Tony Stark as adopted thing. I don't like that idea, but I can kind of see where people, might like the idea.
I'd say, like, I haven't read anything by Gillen outside of his X-Men work. And I'd say, like, some of his Uncanny X-Men stuff that I've read of, like, 10 years ago, it's awesome, genuinely. Immortal X-Men is, like, one of the best X-books in the last year or so. And I genuinely recommend it. Like, if you just want to know about the current Krakoan age, pick up Immortal. It's kind of an anthology book about the Quiet Council, and it's really interesting.
Borgie, my problem with it being that there's no reason for it to happen. Tony being adopted is just really weird. It's so left field. It's just a huge like slap in the face because it's just like they created other characters just to make sure that this happens, but it's just what a curveball, right?
Yeah, and
I just think it makes more sense that Tony. It makes Howard look even worse because, like, Tony went through like like some serious abuse. So it's just like, wow, that's really rough.
Yeah, to me, it just kind of takes away like a lot of the character that we had with Tony as well. To me, it's just I kind of like the idea that Tony's trying to live up to his father and what he's done and the legacy, and with all the abuse and stuff, it's kind of like, wow, okay, didn't expect that to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah, it's and then when you find out the actual son of Howard and Maria Stark is actually like Arno Stark, and it sucks even more because that character was created for something else, right? Where it's just like, wow, I don't know. Arno Stark, he's Iron Man 2020.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't like Arno. I don't like Arno. I don't really like the idea of Tony being adopted. Like his Iron Man is weird, but Judgment Day, oh my god, Judgment Day slaps.
Yeah.
I love
like honestly, I'd say Judgment Day is one of my favorite Avenger stories. Like from what I've read.
Yeah, I like Judgment Day. Kieran Gillian has like a really good.
Real quick here. So in about 5 minutes, we'll go ahead and switch gears. So let's just wrap this up here.
All right, so Gillen has some other books that I really do like in the way of Judgment Day and some of his other Iron Man work. Right, Cantwell's Iron Man is bad, but that's neither here nor there. Let's continue. Might be.
Yeah, okay. To be honest, I feel like all of the creators involved in Sins of Sinister are like really solid. We gushed about Kieran Gillen, and like I don't think neither Al Ewing or Simon Spurrier are bad creators. Like they're awesome. Like I genuinely think Al Ewing's output on books is the best thing right now in Marvel. Seriously, it's like banger after banger after banger. It's so good. Vlad? Vlad?
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm here. What's going on?
Yeah, I highly recommend you read X-Men Red by Al Ewing. It's like it's the best X-Men thing since Krakoa started, and one of my top favorite X-Men books. Genuinely, it's so good.
Yeah. I feel like Al Ewing, really good writer. My main kind of complaint was in his Ant-Man book where they just gave Hank the axe, but outside of that though, he's a really good writer. I'm pretty much surprised with all the quality of his writing so far.
Yeah, like also the guy like is really into continuity, but like he also tries to make it accessible while paying homage to it. Like yeah, the Ant-Man book is a great example of it. I assume Wasp is a great example of it.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah. And X-Men Red is like an excellent example of it because we see like Magneto being more of a good guy. Like we see Roberto da Costa, aka Sunspot, call him Headmaster, like he was in the 80s. It's a really interesting read, to be honest. It's also a really great read, but
Yeah. So switching over here, let's just talk about stuff that we've read that isn't current runs. Like like old kind of stuff. It's been a bit since I've read some stuff. I've just been busy, but the main thing I've finished this month is like the start of this month. I finally finished Busiek's Avengers. All of his run for the '98 run, and so far it was like amazing.
I think I finished it.
What was that?
Yeah, I finished. No, I finished it like last month, I think. So, yeah, I finished it like last month.
Yeah. Busiek's Avengers honestly is probably, I'm still like trying to like read a bunch of Avengers stuff, but man, Busiek's Avengers is really good. Really good character writing in it. Kang Dynasty was just peak amazing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
then there was a lot of stuff too with like Janet and Hank, especially with the Avengers annual. I think the 2004 annual, dealing with Hank, Yellow Jacket.
Oh, the 2000.
Yeah,
The two.
the 2000 annual. That's what it was. That was a really good issue, kind of dealing with Hank's internal problems and everything, and him having to come to terms. That was just perfect writing. It kind of sucks that later on they just kind of ignore all that continuity they did with Hank and Jan, but what we got there was really good. There was like a lot of good moments too. Like Blood Wraith is still probably one of my it's like one of my top 5 favorite issues of there, just because of the actual conflict with Blood Wraith, where it's like the Avengers actually they can't stop it, so it's like, yeah, no, we just need to starve the guy. That was really cool. It's fun seeing like a situation where the heroes realize that they can't win. And also how it ties into Ultron, that was really cool. It's like a lot of the stuff was really good. The Triune Understanding to me was like the weak spot in the run. I mean, it's like really good political commentary and social commentary. The Triune had a lot of good commentary. But my problem just with it is it just felt kind of out of left field. There's a lot going on in the 98 run, but once you get the payoff, it works. Kang Dynasty though, like, man, that is just, honestly, to me, that's like definitive Kang right there. It is really good. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's just an interesting thing seeing how Kang Dynasty is handled.
Right.
But yeah,
You guys are talking about Ant-Man today?
No, Avenger. We're talking about some of the books that we've read.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, we're doing a live stream right now.
Yeah, it's on Twitch.
Oh, no,
I seen it.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so, just my main kind of the one thing I don't like with Busiek's 98 run is definitely the weird love triangle between Wonder Man, Wanda, and Vision. I just don't like that love triangle. It just feels too dragged out. But Carol, man, she gets a lot of character development in the 98 run. And to me, like, that and the stuff with Janet and Hank and Ultron is, like, the two big kind of awesome moments, especially, like, once Kang is drawn in. Like, a lot of characters get some really good character moments, especially once things tie over into Avengers Forever. Like, oh my god, the 98 run is just peak Avengers, man. So.
I know, I love Ultron Unlimited, Kang Dynasty, Supreme Justice. I just love those runs, especially the Morgan quest, right?
One with Morgan Le Fay?
Yeah, the one with Morgan Le Fay. Like, the start of it was just great. I do like how later on we get, like, the Avengers all working together, but I just hear, like, the Pacific Rim theme song as they have, like, agents everywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah, man.
What's up, bro?
So what's a good reading order for Busiek's Avengers? Because once I'm done with Mark Millar's Ultimates, I'm gonna jump into that.
I would just recommend Busiek's run from issues 1 to 56. It really, like, the entire thing is a ride.
What year was his run?
98 to 2002.
Okay, gotcha.
Right. So good, man. It's like Ultron Unlimited everything that happens in the book has, like, the most bombastic action in it. It is just the biggest action sequences and scenes, right? Busiek is responsible for why the Avengers are, like, so well loved today. Like it's Stan Lee, Roy Thomas, right? But, like,
Jack Kirby.
Yeah, and Jack Kirby. But this is one of those runs that just, like, reminds you as to like how they're really solid. They're a really good team. It's super inclusive too, because throughout the book there's, like, social commentary about Black people and mutants being on the Avengers, And because they don't have any black people in the Avengers, they're like, well, you guys have preferential treatment, so we're the black heroes. And
That's interesting.
there's actually a reason they're all kind of like, no, because we have our personal lives to attend to, right? So it's kind of hard for them. They kind of put them in a spot, but then this
I
religious
also,
cult like forces away.
No, I wanted to add on this because like I remember like a quote from I think was Black Panther that he was offended to just being viewed as like the Black Avenger to be added.
Yeah, and it's so funny because like in that same moment, right? They're like, you guys are racist for not having black people, but no mutants on the Avengers. Get rid of your mutants.
Yeah, it's really fun seeing that hypocrisy.
Yeah, it's just like, well, what do you want?
Exactly, and I like a lot of like the threats that they face throughout it. It's like really fun. Like as I said, the Blood Wraith is probably one of my favorite non-trade kind of villains that they showed up with. That was really
Mhm.
cool. Yeah, there's like a bunch of fun stuff, and I love the Wrecking Crew. Like, they're a bunch of Goonies, they're just goons. But it's so fun in that one issue where they have to kidnap Captain Marvel, but these idiots don't realize that the Captain Marvel they need to kidnap is Carol Danvers, not Monica Rambeau. And so they go to New York to kidnap Monica, not realizing that it's the wrong Captain Marvel. And the whole entire issue of these like 3 issues is the fact that the Wrecking Crew are a bunch of idiots. It's like
Yeah, and then
everything that
Archon
happens
shows up.
is because their stupidity, and it's
Yeah, and then
so funny.
Archon's a thing. I love Archon. He shows up and he's like, I am the Tarzan of the West. And everybody's like, dog, give it a break, man.
Yes.
Well,
Solid Avengers. But like, then there's, like, Ultron is like my favorite. He shows up twice throughout the Busiek run, but the first time he shows up in the main series, the next time he shows up in like a mini. And there's some really good stuff with Ultron. In fact, that was the book that retconned that Hank, not retconned, but established that Hank's brain patterns are Ultron's, right? Like
yeah. Also,
this was the book that did
uh,
that.
yeah. Also, I just want to say that like Ultron Unlimited is like my go-to book to recommend to people who wanna, see what the Avengers are. Like if someone asks me, "Hey, give me a book about what the Avengers are as a team," I'd give them Ultron Unlimited.
Yeah. What about you, Wayne? What have you been reading lately?
Lately I've been reading a lot. I've been rereading a lot of Grant Morrison's New X-Men, and I'm about to get right back into
Love that.
the.
Love that.
Yeah, I love Grant Morrison's New X-Men so much, and I've been revisiting it. It's just such a great time to go back to. But
One of my
immediately after
favorites.
yeah, it's amazing. Immediately when I'm done with that, I'm gonna go right into Ultimates Volume 2.
Let's
But
go.
in between all that, I've just been doing a lot of writing.
I hear that, man.
Yeah,
'Cause, like,
I can see that.
So what do you
I want
enjoy?
to start reading Ultimates to prepare to Ultimate Invasion. Is it good?
Ultimates?
Yeah, Mark Millar's
Ultimates
Ultimates.
1? Ultimates 1 is good.
Yeah.
The internet being the internet.
I mean,
bad.
okay, so yeah, it's good. It's
Wait,
just that
can you repeat the question? What was it about the Ultimates?
Is it good?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It falls apart extremely towards the ground during like the 3rd volume because it's not written by Mark Millar. That's because of Jeff Loeb.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but the
Yeah.
first one is good. It's just dated. There's a lot of dated stuff in it.
yeah, there's like
Yeah.
to me like some of the characters fall apart. I don't like Ultimates because of how they handle Hank and Janet. Like I
Yeah.
absolutely
I've
hate
heard that's
that.
I enjoy Ultimates as sort of like an alternate look as to how the Avengers would be in the real world. It does date itself heavily with a lot of its dialogue and sort of out of touch pop cultural references. But as a story in itself, I think it's really good. I like I like how far they go with showing how Hank Pym's kind of a domestic abuser compared to his 616 counterpart. And I'm not sure, is that something that you disliked about the book, MCU-Man? Is how they portrayed Hank? Wait, go ahead.
The portrayal of Hank, I think, makes sense in the context of that universe, where it's just like, yeah. I think that this book, the characters that actually benefit from this book were like Iron Man. Like Tony was like the most normal out of everybody in the book. It's kind of refreshing, where he's the only guy that's just like got his head on straight, and that's because he's like, yeah, I'm doing this because I might die sometime.
Yeah, it's like
I'm giving back. Yeah.
A lot of the other characters, I do think it's good. It's just that some of the characters I just prefer 616 over Ultimates. It's just like, I think it's good.
Except for Nick Fury.
Yeah.
I like Nick Fury.
Yeah, no, Nick Fury is actually pretty good. But
I love
Ultimate 3 and Ultimatum.
Thor in that run too. I love Thor in that run too. That's probably the biggest highlight of the entire run for me was Thor.
From what I've seen in like the Ultimate Avengers movies, yeah, I could see why. He's cool.
Yeah, Ultimate Thor's badass. He's badass in the actual run too. Everybody thinks that he's sort of just this, old homeless lunatic that's just pretending to think that he's a North god, but when it's time to handle business, he gets down. It's fucking amazing.
And he's so wholesome about it too. He feels
like out of everybody in this universe, he feels like he's the closest to being, Marvel's answer to Superman in the Ultimate timeline.
Yeah, and he's so down to earth. He's just like, I'm here not for the government, I'm here for the people. So far, you're
it reminds me so much of Golden Age Superman. I love it.
Yeah. I love it. But yeah, for Ultimate Invasion. By the way, can we talk about that real quick, Vlad? How does everybody feel about Ultimate Invasion? Because we talked about it before.
Yeah,
we started.
That's the new comic that's coming out, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I am interested.
Isn't that Jonathan Hickman and Brian Hitch's revitalization of the Ultimate Universe? I'm very excited for that.
I'm interested too. I hope. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I was just gonna say I got back into the Ultimate Universe at the perfect time because now this is. But go ahead.
Yeah. So my main thing, because I'm kind of interested, is it like a full retcon or is this a continuation? That's my main question.
From the looks of it, it seems like a continuation. I don't know about it being a full
retcon. Of Spider-Man 2, I think.
Yeah, so my main reason I'm interested, at least to say this, is because I know that after they revived Hank and Janet in the Ultimate Universe, they were no longer abusive assholes for how little we got to see them in the Ultimates after they were revived. So I really hope that we get to see at least a wholesome Hank and Janet in a comic, because we don't get that often. And I would like how they handle that, where it's like, no, we shouldn't be fighting each other. You know what? We don't remember what happened. We don't remember the abuse. We remember none of it. So let's just start a new life. Let's start and be happy. And that's what I wish to see with it.
Because apparently all of them are alive, because Captain America's alive, even though it was he died in Cataclysm. And then there was other characters that
Cataclysm. That was really good.
Yeah, Thor died in Cataclysm, but he's fine too.
Didn't he go to hell?
No, that Thor died because he got sucked into the negative zone with Galactus.
Oh, I thought Ultimate Thor went to hell.
He did, but that was when he died the first time and came back, and then he was
that was during Ultimatum, I believe.
Yeah, he died in Ultimatum, died and came back, and then in this one it's he's dead, but he kind of came back too. Hulk died because Galactus killed him.
Superhero fans casually talk about death. Character dying and then coming back. Oh yeah, he died, but then
because Galactus killed him.
That's kind of just the nature of comics, is that death is not really the end for these characters. They're going to come back one way or another.
Comics,
Well, if we're talking about like the main characters, like some of them do, right? But for like side characters, if they're dead, they're most likely gonna stay dead. You know?
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, there's always an exception. There's always an exception to characters that just definitively stay dead, like Rorschach from Watchmen. But it's never going to be likely that you'll see Marvel permanently kill off Peter, or DC permanently killing off Bruce. It's just not going to happen because those are their main faces and mascots of their respective brands. If a character's selling enough, they're not going to kill them off permanently. But if he's, like MCU-Man said, a side character or a character that's much more niche, they're probably going to stay where they're at.
Yeah, like for example, Alexandra DeWitt.
Alfred died for like a good 4 years after Tom King's run. That's actually a surprising change that DC actually stood with for a bit.
Yeah, and it's like they almost, oh god, they almost did it to Janet that one time. Kind of glad that they did bring her back, but it's like
they did it to Janet twice, and it's just like, geez.
It's like she was dead for a little bit. I can't remember how long it was after the first Secret Invasion, and then there was the or was it? No, it was in both Secret Invasions, right? That she died.
So the new Secret Invasion, she's not in it.
Okay.
The old one though, the one in 2008, she died.
Yeah,
and then they brought her back in 2012.
Yeah, that's right.
So it was like in 2008 she died, and they waited 4 years to bring her back. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, and it's like, I mean, they've literally in 616 she's died 3 times, so it's like,
yep.
Holy shit. This character just keeps fucking dying. They keep bringing her back. It's ludicrous seeing that happen.
She's basically Jean Grey if Jean Grey, was actually killed as many times as people meme on about.
But Ultimate Hulk, I thought that was the most interesting one because we saw him last time in Cataclysm, and Galactus killed him. Right.
Everybody seems to have died in Cataclysm,
Most people
Everybody died one way or another, especially in the Ultimate Universe.
Most people died in the Ultimate. Iron Man makes it. Sue Storm makes it. Mr. Fantastic does too. Kitty Pryde she grows giant because she has the Pym particle. She bitch slaps Galactus. It's actually really cool.
Didn't Ben Grimm didn't he kill Doctor Doom at the end of Ultimatum?
Yeah,
or am I
he crushed his skull. He crushed his fucking skull and then looked at Namor and implied that he killed Namor as well.
It's actually kind of the most base thing that Ben Grimm has ever did in the Ultimate Universe.
Namor made
maybe most base thing Ben has did in the last 20 years.
Namor actually made it? Okay. I wasn't sure because last time I read it thought it was implied.
Namor made it, but that wasn't Doom. That was this is gonna sound so stupid. That was Mary Storm running around as Doctor Doom.
Oh my god.
So it was an imposter that Ben killed because the real Doctor Doom comes back and he's
imposter?
Yeah, and then Doom was just like, that wasn't me.
Wow.
There is an imposter among us?
There was
I was just going to give Ben his props. Now he just looks stupid.
Yeah, now he looks dumb.
Yeah, he does. Because, when I saw that, I'm like, there's no way fucking Ben Grimm, the Thing, was able to crush Doom's skull. There's no way he could fucking do that. It makes sense now.
Yeah, so it wasn't Doom. Because, later on in Ultimate FF, which they call the Future Foundation, and I really like this idea, the Future Foundation in the Ultimate Universe is the new S.H.I.E.L.D. Because after the Galactus invasion, they're like, okay, well, S.H.I.E.L.D. is actually ineffectual, go away. And then Tony Coulson and Machine Man go and start the Future Foundation with Stu and Falcon. And they're the new S.H.I.E.L.D., right? So they go through this reality hopping adventure, and they meet Miles Morhamus, the Spider Pig equivalent to the Spider Ham equivalent to Miles, right? And then the adventure keeps getting jumbled, and they jump to meeting the real Doctor Doom. the one with goat legs. And he's just like, yeah, that wasn't me.
It's a horrible fucking cop out, but like
Honestly,
Vladimir said,
the
it makes
best thing
sense because
about
there's
this
no
is
way.
that we got like the miss. Sorry.
What were you
But
saying? Wait.
I was just saying, Vladimir. It's a stupid cop out, but Vladimir also has a point saying there's no way that Ben can just crush Doomskull like that, and they
Yeah.
pretty much answered why. But go ahead, Xavier.
To be honest, like I like this mostly because we got like that stupid ass storyline to end like the Ultimate Spider-Man book with Miles just having Kate Bishop's parents, work for Hydra, and Doctor Doom is also working for Hydra. It's weird as shit.
Hey, MC, can I ask you a question?
Yo, what's up, man?
How do you feel about Ultimate Steve?
I like
So
and dislike him. He's a hot and cold thing where it's just like in other books when like Bendis writes him, he's okay, right? He kind of comes across as like John Walkery,
Yeah.
right?
Then
But
other
then,
times he comes off as like a stoic asshole whenever he's talking to the mutants.
Yeah.
oh yeah, when he's talking to like the X-Men, that's where I feel like people get the idea that Captain America's racist because in the Ultimate Universe, I hate how he talks to the X-Men. It's really rough. He's like, he acknowledges that they're like college aged, but he's just like, yeah, you guys shouldn't be on the battlefield. And it's just like, Steve, you were 19 when you went off to war. You shouldn't be talking.
Yeah, that's something with the Ultimate characters is like, to me it's like the actual storylines for Ultimates is good. For 1 to 2. It's just the characters have always been a mixed bag. It's like some of the characters are good, and then they also have bad traits. Some of the characters are bad,
Yeah.
but they have some good traits. It's
So how do you?
Yeah, sorry,
I'm
go ahead.
sorry, I'm so sorry. I was just gonna ask. So, with that in consideration, how do you feel about Ultimate Hulk?
Ultimate
Hulk.
Hulk.
Oh,
You go, Vlad.
so
You go first.
the main problem with Ultimate Hulk is how a lot of people see the character. Um, it's one of those things where it's like I don't like how they depicted him. It kind of makes sense because he's got the mind of a child, if I remember correctly, when he's in Hulk form. So he acts like a child, but at the same time, it's kind of like it's
Hulk not
really
Hulk straight.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
really uncomfortable at times. But at the same time, it does kind of make him more of a threat. So I kind of understand it. To me though, it's like I just kind of go, it's just a little too uncomfortable for my taste how he acts, but I understand why the Hulk acts that way too in the Ultimates universe with like how Betty treated him and everything. So, it's like
Yeah, and
I see it.
it's also because Martin Millar wanted to go back to his original roots and inspiration that Jack Kirby had for him when he was first conceived. Back to the Frankenstein and who else was Hulk inspired by? MCU
Dr.
Man. It was
Dr.
Doctor
Jekyll,
Who.
Mr.
Yeah,
Hyde.
Dr. Zemplon. He wanted to go back to sort of that sort of like body horror, sort of childish monster, universal inspired roots. So it makes sense why this version of Hulk kind of is very sluggish and sort of childlike because, that's pretty much how Frankenstein and Mr. Heed, is that what his name was? Mr. Hyde?
Mr. Hyde and Dr. Jekyll.
Yeah, Mr. Hyde and Dr. Jekyll. But the problem is that a lot of its execution is just it's so cringeworthy. I can't get past some of the dialogue for Hulk without just like
Just
rubbing my head from cringe. I can't do it.
yeah, a lot of the really sexualized dialogue that he says about Betty really
It's just
rubs me the wrong
uncomfortable.
way.
And the
I
funny
mean,
Prince Jr. joke kind of gets old after a while. Like, it was funny the first 2 times.
yeah, but again, it kind of makes sense given that original. You wanted to go back to that original characterization for Mr. Hyde, Dr. Hyde, but I don't know. The dialogue just doesn't work in a lot of places, especially when you pretty much just. What was that panel that I'm thinking of where Wasp had to show her titties just so she could lure Hulk?
Oh my
Like,
god. I bet Betty doesn't have a rack like this, huh? And Hulk gives her the fucking googly eyes.
Yeah, it's like, come on, bro. What is this?
And then Nick Fury was like, "That's the best you got, a Mardi Gras special."
Oh god,
That was pretty funny.
it's painful though. Like,
It's cringe, but it's pretty funny.
it is funny. At the same time, it's like, it's like, I can see Ultimate Wasp doing that, but like 616 Wasp, she wouldn't fucking do that. It's like,
I can't.
Jesus.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I'm hoping that they do in Ultimate Extinction or Ultimate Invasion. That they bring back some of these characters, not kind of like the way that they were, but a little improved, right? Where it's like, hey, Steve's kind of grown up a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Peter
you.
is an adult now. Like Ultimate Peter is like what people actually want. He's like 20 something. He's about to get married. He has a full-time job at the Daily Bugle. Things are working out for him, right? He's a member of a supreme, like the biggest superhero team, right?
Yeah.
And then they start doing things like that. Start showing us like, yeah, Tony's dead. That tumor actually came to him, and start like being like, oh yeah, well, what about Riri? Right? Give Riri more agency, because I feel like 616 hasn't been doing that.
Yeah.
Despite them wanting us to really like her.
Yeah, and as I said, I really want them to just kind of pick up where Hank and Janet were, because they left off at a good point where the two characters' minds, they do not know what happened to them in the past, and I want them to stay that way.
You see, I want to know what brought Peter back. Because at the end of Ultimate Comic Spider-Man, Peter runs off with Mary Jane. And we don't see him for like a while. Right? I kind of hope that that's what happened.
Yeah, he got married, ran away. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
I feel like I wish to see more of the marriage of Ultimate Peter and Mary Jane, like on panel instead of off panel, mostly because it was a thing set up in the early issues.
Yeah.
That these two were gonna get married, so like, let's have them actually be married on panel,
Yeah, let's see it. Like, let's see. Like, let's just say, before the Ultimate Universe just like descended into chaos, right? Peter and MJ got married, right? And like, Peter is, but then the questions are going to arise, like, hey, well, where were you during like Spider-Verse 8? And it's going to be like, well, I was busy trying to mine to my own Earth. And this is like, some of us don't have an Earth, so you're a coward. And then Peter could be like, nah, I'm not going to take that from you. And then they just are like, whatever. And they leave. So that's why that's why like Ultimate Peter wasn't invited to any of the Spider-Verses lately. They're like, Miles better anyway. I would love to have seen that.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be a really cool idea. But and
although, to be honest, I feel like how I do Ultimate Peter's thing, it'd be basically him just being like wanting to propose to MJ, but he couldn't do it in time because like all these cataclysmic events happened in the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah. I would
then
love
after
this, yeah.
Yeah, at the end of Ultimate Invasion, Peter says, MJ, I have something to tell you.
Yeah, that shit would be tight. I would love to see that too. That's a really good way into handling it. And on top of that, that kind of like gives people like the incentive where it's just like, hey, you're not getting the Spider-Man stories you want over there. Well, come over here. You might get what you want. Right. Same with like Contest of Chaos. That one I'm really looking forward to.
To be honest, I don't know anything about this comic.
It's going to be the next Contest of Champions, so it's another hero versus hero slap.
Who's the writer?
Let me look that up real quick.
Because like unless I get like a description of the plot, like a writer and or artist for the book, I'm not really interested. It looks like an event, a really fun event, but still.
Yeah. Contest of Chaos only has promotional art by Brian Hitch. We don't know who's writing it.
Oh, okay. That's what I saw. So, also there's Tim Seeley's new Spider-Man book, Spider-Man Unforgiven. Looks good.
Yeah, Spider-Man books aren't the ones I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, to be honest, I look forward to weird experimental miniseries with Spider-Man. That's the only thing I
Yeah,
really
lately
look forward
Spider-Man
to.
books. Yeah, lately Spider-Man books just haven't been hitting the spot for me. Where it's just like that's why I've just kind of scared. But I hope you are enjoying yourself because I would hope that would be great if you are.
Yeah, I kind of enjoy Amazing sometimes, and to be honest, the side titles have been pretty fire recently. Outside of Mary Jane and Black Cat, which it's a bit too weird for me, but yeah, I still like it.
So I want to do this here just real quick. And if we ever have anyone else hop in, I'll ask these same questions to anyone else that hops in that's not one of us. So I just want to get an idea here on who are, characters, books, things like that we're interested in here, since we're kind of wrapping up here. So I'm going to start off, I guess, with you, MCU-Man. What is, do you prefer DC or Marvel?
I prefer Marvel.
And what team are you most interested in Marvel,
Avengers.
And who would you say your favorite Avenger is?
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man.
Specifically Hank Pym.
Alright. And what about you, Xavier?
So, like MCU-Man, I prefer Marvel, but personally, I'm more into both X-Men and Fantastic Four. My favorite X-Men are Cyclops, Magneto, and Nightcrawler. My favorite Fantastic Four member is Reed Richards.
Awesome. Yeah. I guess I'm gonna have to answer the question for myself here, but I'm pretty much a big Marvel person. I do like the Avengers a lot, and if you cannot tell by my name being the Wasp, I do like the Wasp, specifically Janet. But I also like Iron Man and Captain America. Those two are also really good Avengers, but
yeah,
she's really like Janet for some reason,
Yeah, my second favorite Avenger is Hawkeye.
Yeah.
To be honest, I agree with MCU-Man regarding my favorite Avenger being Hank Pym. Close second for me, I think, is Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
Now, MCU-Man, who do you think is better, Green Arrow or Hawkeye?
Hawkeye. So glad you asked.
Yes, thoughts. Yeah, Borgie's like thoughts in Green Arrow.
Thoughts on Green Arrow? Green Arrow. I'm kind of reading through Green Arrow, Borgie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully next time we can have you here, Borgie.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, Green Arrow. I kind of have a weird It's like a lot of the stuff I've seen with Green Arrow, I just kind of go, man, this guy's a fucking tool. But I know there's good stories where he's not a tool. It's just a lot of the shit that I've seen, he's just a tool. So.
Yeah.
But he can be a good character. It's just I don't like his fucking origin story where he was stuck on an island and he became the greatest archer. Like, come on, buddy, you can do better than that. But it really is subjective, honestly. I think Green Arrow predates Hawkeye. Yeah, he does. So it's one of those things where it's like, one of them came first, but somehow the one that came after is, in my opinion, better. But yeah. And what are your thoughts on the Justice League? I'm just gonna ask both of y'all that, because I think we might want to start talking about some DC stuff, maybe here shortly, because I need to start reading some DC stuff, just because I want to talk about Justice League and things, because I'm interested.
Yeah.
And I just want y'all's thoughts on that.
You want to go first, Xavier?
To be honest, like the team, it's pretty cool. I've Like my biggest experiences with the Justice League are watching the cartoon and reading the first arc of Morrison's JLA. Both I really enjoyed.
Yeah,
Now you,
the
MCU,
Justice League
man.
cartoon is really good. That's what I'm familiar with.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I
it's
recommend Morrison's. It's good. Now you, MCU-Man.
My favorite Justice League stories typically feature something that's very similar to that's the cartoon, but like the way that the Justice League are from like the '60s. I really do like Justice League of America by Brad Meltzer, even though Brad Meltzer is like got the worst DC event ever. Identity Crisis is bad. I will say that um, Justice League of America by Brad Meltzer is where you kind of get like this interpersonal Justice League story, and then that's the one where you kind of see how like, oh, you guys work, and it's kind of personal for you guys too, right? I would highly recommend starting with Justice League of America issue 1 from 2006. This book is so good.
Thanks for the recommendation.
Yeah.
So,
Really good book. My favorite leaguer though, Batman.
I mean, we all know,
Uh,
I like chicks with wings, so, you know, I'm
Right.
kidding.
Actually,
It's
no,
Batman.
I'm
I like
gonna
Batman
correct
and
myself.
Superman, but,
I'm gonna correct myself. Green Lantern. I don't care which one. Just Green Lantern. I just need a Green Lantern on the Justice League. I don't care. I like Green
I
Lantern.
like Batman. I also like Superman. They're both kind of fun. Um,
Yeah.
I'm just horny for Hot Girl, but outside of that
Oh.
though, it's like Batman and Superman really cool. Really like them.
To be honest, I'd say my favorite leaguer is probably Superman.
That's fair.
I just like Superman. He's cool. He's just a great character, to be honest. It has a very timeless feel, you know? Like, you could play Superman in any time period and it would work. And I think that's the great thing about Superman as a character. And that's why he's my favorite leaguer. But Batman is pretty close to me.
Cool.
So it looks like probably gonna have to. I think we're gonna wrap it up out here. I think we got to everything we wanted to talk about though. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm definitely gonna be trying to read some more stuff here. So when we come back next Sunday, I'll probably read some different things. Branch out a little bit. I'm kind of interested in seeing some of the stuff. I think there's a Moon Knight run out that I want to check out, so I might read a couple of that.
That's great. That's great. You're gonna adore it.
Yeah,
You know? It's good. It's good shit.
So yeah, I think that's it for all of us here. Do we have anything we want to say before we close out?
Closing out, thank you guys for joining us. It's greatly appreciated, whoever is out here. I hope you guys have a good day. That's all I gotta say.
Yep.
Yeah, same too. Like, hope y'all have a good day or night, and see you next time.
All right. Yep. I guess I'll be seeing y'all here some other time. Next Sunday at 1 Eastern. So I look forward to seeing everyone. All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.